Hey everybody, this is Stephanie. This is process 3 of the custom album from Vegas. So now I'm doing the last 4 layouts that I have to decorate for my photos, and then you'll see me decorate the cover and a flip through in real time. I had so much fun creating this little album and just decorating and sharing it with you guys. I hope you recreate this or just had fun with the process as well. I'm just going to be jumping into the remaining stickers and embellishments. I even considered grabbing some out of this stash, this little ephemera piece, but I don't end up going with it just because it was different colors, and I'm already toward the end of this kit, and I didn't want to bring in new colors now. This kit, or this project. I even tried pulling in some of the memorabilia pieces, but I felt like everything was too big and just didn't really work out with this little album. However, like I said in the previous process videos, I will be keeping all my memorabilia and replacing them in a junk journal. It's kind of like a junk journal slash smash book. You can smash everything in, and I really like that idea, so that way nothing gets wasted. I pulled out that little ephemera piece there from the pattern paper. It says Wander, and I don't know about you guys, but if you see that photo, it is the stage of the shows that we saw there, and it just looks amazing, and I love the idea to be able to wander on it. So that's why I originally picked out the ephemera piece. I don't know if I'm going to end up using it though, but that was my mindset on that. And there on the right side is a picture of us at the show before it started. So I grabbed out this piece of pattern paper and I wondered on what to cut out. And I really like the top portion, and it just really looked like a tag to me. So here in a bit, I'll be cutting it out and making my own tag. And again, that just brings me back to getting ideas and inspiration to make your own embellishments. And I really liked how that came out. So I pulled out this green embellishment paper here, and it says, "Let's go, fun this way, and adventure." With all the arrows, I definitely see that's how it would feel going on that stage, and just that atmosphere altogether. I do believe I placed some dimension on one of these embellishments. I believe it's the camera, or maybe not. Oh, I placed some mini staples from the Tiny Attacher from Tim Holtz, just to staple the Wander on there, and then I'm going to call that done. Now, I'm making another mistake here. I don't know if you've already noticed. You see me kind of really anchoring it toward the right, and that's where the hose go. And I've mentioned this before. This is why I struggled having a little bit of setbacks. I really wish I remembered to place the hose beforehand. Thankfully, it was forgiving, so I don't have to worry about that. I think throughout the entire process after this, I do start punching the hose before, so at least I learned eventually. So this is where I place the tag, and look at that instant embellishment. I really like the way that came out. I wish I thought of those to do more throughout the entire process, but hey, you get into your creative mode or flowing along the way. I like the idea of placing some of the colors to match within the background of that tag. So that's what I did for the right side, and now I'm going to be moving to the left. I have to remember what that little sticker that I just placed on there, and it says, "Today I'm a tourist." So I'm struggling right now, guys. I did not remember. Oh, did I remember? No, I did not. I was like, oh, this is so unfortunate. I don't even remember until it's time to start cutting holes. I'm going to commit the entire layout before I remember that, hello, the holes go there. Yeah, I totally fudged up. And that should have been a warning sign if you see that the left side has such a big gap, and I'm thinking, wow, I have so much to cover. Oh, I think this is where I remember. What are you doing? Thank my lucky stars that this is going to come off, for the most part, successful. Not to where you can tell that I had a mistake. I had, yeah, just a small portion of the paper got pulled up, but that's not gonna show when I cover it with the photo, so that works out. I thought about just placing the staple that I had in there and then adhering it down, but I just felt like that the staple did not look the same after I pulled it out, so I restapled that. Thumbs up, nice save. And let's put those hose now. Alright, we're moving on to, I believe, the second layout for this process. I think we're like up to 6 or 7 overall. And I'm being diligent, guys. You saw that I placed my hose. I believe on our way to get the vehicle, that is what you're seeing there on the left. And if you see all the way far in the background, you'll see the mountain tops and just a great view that I had to take a picture and document. And I really love that I grabbed out one of the stickers and I placed it there all in that open space. I believe it's the one that I'm grabbing right now that it says travel. Perfect. I love the way that looks. That's all the embellishment that I really needed. Thumbs up, guys. And this is where I make a cluster there in the upper right portion, and it came out awesome. I think at this point I'm almost done with the project and I'm just going with the flow, and it's just whipping up even faster and it's getting easier and easier to layer. So I just had to get a fill of it since it was a smaller project, but as I kept going and really working on it, it was easier to make these little clusters. So I definitely recommend, if you're kind of hesitant to just try something new, just go with it and have fun, because after a while it was just naturally happening and these clusters came out and it was just so much fun. And bonus, you get to document your memories, right? That's the main part, the best part. All right, we're moving on to another layout. This is where we saw Terry Fader. And if you notice that we're taking pictures of it during his concert, he allows that because he is totally fine with that. And any of the proceeds that you purchased while you're there outside of the concert, we had got a turtle, his other ventriloquist, a teddy bear for my son, and he also donates that. I think it was 100% to veterans and military, and it was just a nice overall experience. And I really like the fact that he allowed you to take pictures. That's normally not the case for most concerts or shows, so that was a nice bonus. Alright, I'm moving on to the next layout. This is the last layout for this spread, and I tried to make that scenic route work. I thought it was perfect to showcase this sunset. However, again, it is the wonkiness of it I just did not like. I wish it was kind of like cut out as a rectangle rather than that style. For some reason, it just wasn't going with it, with the design for me on this case. On the left there, we had stopped at a restaurant along the way home, and I got I think it was really my second drink from the trip. It was a margarita, I believe, and it was very strong. My husband had to help me finish it, but it was still yummy. And I also took a picture of a lottery ticket. I don't know if it is everywhere, but it was a Pac-Man one, and it was the first time I've ever seen it. So I went ahead and took a picture of that because that was awesome. I lost, but that was still awesome. So I'm just working on this cluster, trying to see what works and what fits. I love that little arrow there, and it comes out looking good. And this still shows the photo, so that works out. And I believe I'm going to call that complete, and now I'm going to be working on the cover. So I have out my black cardstock ready to go. I just need to trim it and adhere it. I didn't do any measurements, so simple, just cut around it and call it done. Okay, now I'm adhering it together. I did edit it to save some time. Okay, and I decided to work in the front first before I decided to go to the back. So I have these two pieces right here that have already been pre-cut with two dies, circle dies, to make my lens for my camera. And I pulled out this citrus twist stamp set, and if you notice, I looked in the back and I wanted to make sure that Explore worked within the circle of that embellishment. As you can see, I kind of chose the rock desert feel just because that's kind of how it represents the week driving back home. It was very a lot of rock and just hot, and yeah, so that really represented it. However, I did notice that when I hit stamp out the Explorer, there was an additional cloud and sun, guys, and it showed that in the back. So I was like, oh cool, it works. And then I didn't realize that there's two suns, and I don't, I don't know. I don't think we're in another planet, so that threw me for a loop. I will see that in a bit. And with the flip through, you'll see how I change it up. I thought I would keep it just because it's for myself, and I didn't really want to fix it. However, I will end up fixing it, and in the flip through, it will have a different word. It's going to say less wander, and it will not have two suns. Alright, I am placing it all on the rings. These rings were kind of hard to open the first time using them, but now they are just fine to use. I really like the way that looks, but I felt like it wasn't enough color, so I'm going to be placing a pattern per paper instead of that beige or cement colored circle in the back. So I found these two photo or Polaroids in the pattern paper, and I decided that I'm going to be using those for the back. So I'm debating on the title, and I don't know how I want it. I keep switching it from back and forth, and I thought I might stick with this, but in the flip through, you'll see it changed over. I tried to move it and realized that was not adhered down, so I need to adhere that. However, I want to watercolor the images before I set it down. So this is where I make that change of switching this pattern paper out with, that beige paper with a pattern paper, and I really love that change. I think it added enough color for my front cover without being too overpowering. I am not being precise. I don't have a die that cuts it out. I don't have a regular circle punch. I have a die, and I didn't really feel like pulling out my my Big Shot machine, just to pull out to do one circle. So then I just did a freehand circle cut, and I call that done. So I think I'm okay with the title. I'm going to work on the back really quick. And yes, I'm going to have to adhere all those letters. They are the Tim Holtz letters, and they do not really hold a good stick. So to keep them from, falling through the wear and tear this album will receive, I will be adhering them down. If you hear any background noise, it is the TV. My boys are watching TV with my husband right now. So apologies for that. Here I am showing you what I plan to do with the two pattern papers is I'm going to place some glue. The reason you want to place glue instead of the adhesive is because the glue will dry and it won't stick to the item that you stick within the pocket, while when you use double-sided adhesive, it will remain sticky and you'll have trouble removing the papers that you choose to place in your pockets. However, I do want to mention not to place too much, because if you place too much, they will kind of warp your pages. So I just gave you that kind of example. I'm giving you a real quick flip through, and there will be a real flip through at the end. Now I'm deciding for the cover here on the right side, what to add on there so that way it does not remain blank. And I really felt like these two Project Life cards fit perfectly. Guys, here I am breaking in that card again. I just cannot let it go. It doesn't stay, obviously, but I did try. So here I am placing these last two journal cards that's going to complete this album for the back. The left side is going to remain blank. I may add some additional journaling, or I may just place a pattern paper. I have not decided, and I'm okay with leaving it. It is pretty much completed the way it is. Now I'm going to be working on the front portion and finally getting ready to watercolor. I was kind of dreading this just because I didn't really want to watercolor it, knowing that there's two suns on there, but I did decide to use it as a rough draft on what colors that I should use, so that way when I print out or stamp out that new image, I know what colors to use. This is the way I watercolor. I normally grab out my Tim Holtz mini ink pads and place them on an acrylic block. Grab out my water brush and some water. I spray water on the actual acrylic block, and that just helps me determine more control over the amount of water that I place on my projects, especially if it isn't watercolor paper. I normally just use cardstock, and if you're okay with, if you control the water portions, it won't warp as much. As you saw me do my hand crunch, this is where I'm letting you know, like I just noticed that there are two suns in this stamped image, and I am not a happy camper. So I'm just trying to color it in, seeing what I like, and I do like the way I colored it, so you will see that in the end of the process video. But I left it in just so you know this is how I watercolor, in case you're interested on how I color in my stamped images. Alright, let's do this flip through. You can see some of the changes that I did here, as well as change this. The whole double sun type thing going on wasn't working for me, so I changed that. And we can look at the back really quickly here. It is very minimalistic. And let's jump into the flip through. I like the idea of placing some ribbon right here, like a strap you would normally use for camera, so that's going to be in the near future since I don't think I have black. Okay, here is the flip through, all completed. I'll be placing the journaling and any writing that I have to do at the end, so my handwriting sucks, so I'm not going to show that. And here is the example of the pattern paper for my journaling right here. That is going to go in each of the things. Pockets. I had so much fun creating this, and I hope you enjoyed the process. I have not placed something here. I will debate on that, but this is the end. I hope you got inspired in some way, and as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, bye.